Yes, everyone, my name is Stephen Howson, and this is 5 things that we learned watching Manchester United beat Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur 2-1. I was going to get really excited about the score then, but it was just 2-1, wasn't it? This is brought to you in partnership with the Betfair exchange, and I'll be talking about that a little bit later on. First things first, though, Marcus Rashford was unstoppable. I thought Marcus Rashford last night really rose to the occasion and almost levelled up in the game. That moment where he got the ball prior to the save that was tipped onto the bar, which would have been an absolutely phenomenal goal. Prior to taking that shot, Marcus sort of stood in the middle of the pitch. He had hours on the ball. He knocked the ball out of his feet and then he shot. And there was just a real air of confidence, of expectation, of a young man that can do anything that he wants to with the ball at his feet. He's on fire at the moment. I think it's worth talking about how important and how frequently Marcus Rashford scores against the top teams, something that Tahminae needs to learn how to do and something that Lukaku was derided for not doing, yet Marcus does it time and time again. 9 goals and 4 assists in his first 15 games, 2 goals against Spurs, 4 shots on targets, 11 attempted dribbles, just a brilliant performance. If we had more players that could take on that mantle the way Marcus Rashford did against Tottenham, Manchester United would not be where we are in the table at the moment. I think he was everything that we've hoped he could be, really. Can he maintain that? Can he also go and put a bloody nose on Manchester City as well? If he can, we're going to see we're already seeing it, but we're going to really see the very best Marcus Rashford season. Can he get 20 goals, actually? Let me know in the comments. Do you think he can get 20 goals? I think that's a sensible target just in the league for him. Number 2, the return of Scott McTominay. McTominay was dominant. I think it's very telling in the last 10 games that Manchester United haven't won when Scott McTominay hasn't played. That's kind of big. Scott McTominay's come in this season and he'd obviously levelled up. I saw it on pre-season. I was like, actually, McTominay's very impressive there in pre-season. A little bit of a shock, actually. But what we've seen with the ball still probably leaves a little bit to desire. He doesn't quite have that quality in the final third, but I tell you what, off the ball, there's a real confidence, assurance, and a real workman-like thing where he's just going about and doing his job. And it was so evident against Tottenham that Fred looked better because he was playing alongside McTominay instead of Pereira. He's making the right decisions, it's an acute skill that's actually very hard to sort of quantify. Well, was that the right decision or was that the right decision? It looks to me like he's making the right decision more often than he's making the wrong decision. He was brilliant against Tottenham. I'm not sure if he was man of the match, but he was brilliant. And he showed exactly what we've missed. If he's fit and able to play against Manchester City, I think that's a massive boost for us. It was good to see him getting involved with a little bit of aggro and also standing up for himself as well. Scott McTominay, we missed you, and I can't wait to see how we do with you back in the team this weekend. Even Jose Mourinho had a lot to say, as you would probably expect from the guy that he awarded Manager's Player of the Year to. The way we come to the game by the emotional way, they had more emotion than us. You see, for example, McTominay's performance, the globality of his performance, he was dominant. Not sure globality is a word, but let's roll with that. Number 3, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got it tactically spot on again. Another big game and another test for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that he's come through and passed. And I think it's worth talking about this. People say, well, he doesn't get it right against the smaller teams. I'll offer up some sort of reason why that perhaps is. In the bigger games, tactics play a lot more of an importance. That's where the edge comes from. Did a team set up tactically correct? Were they looking to exploit and protect their own weaknesses at the same time? And that's where a game can be won and lost. That is where a manager earns his crust. In the smaller games, the games that Manchester United are expected to turn up and expected to win, quite often you're expecting the players to make the difference in those games. Ole can't set up a tactic which tells Fred to play a through ball. Ole can't set up a tactic that lets you hit those little 1-2s in and around the area. You can only work on certain patterns of play and you can only hope that the players do that. The difference with Manchester City and the difference with Liverpool is that they're not setting up tactically astute in the smaller games. They just have better players who are able to be more creative and expressive on the ball and break teams down when they sit in that low block. That's the difference. Manchester United can't break down teams who play in that low block because there's not a tactical setup that we can use to be able to get round them. We're reliant on the creativity and individual brilliance of those players, which we occasionally get. But more often than not this season, we've not been able to do that. Add that to the fact that perhaps we're not as tight as we could be as a unit, especially when Scott McTominay doesn't feature, we're making individual mistakes at the back which have cost us. But in the biggest of big games this season, Chelsea twice, Ollie come out on top. Leicester, with Brendan Rodgers and that fantastic Leicester team, Ollie come out on top. Liverpool at home. We was moments away from being the first team to just beat Liverpool, let alone be the only team that's taken points off them. Jose Mourinho brings Tottenham in the midst of their new manager bounce, in the midst of this honeymoon period, which people say, is this just thing that happens everywhere, and we turn them over. If he goes and beats Manchester City, much like some of the results that we got last season, when he was like, well, you haven't played anybody yet. I think Ollie, he's proven himself in the big games. Tactically, I thought they got it bang on. Greenwood being a wild card, Jesse Lingard proving that he is one of the names for the big game. I thought Ollie got it absolutely spectacularly bang on. So if you're going to criticise him for when it goes wrong, you have to praise him when it goes right. Number 4, Jesse proved he's a big game player. I've said to you guys loads of times, for me, one of the first names on a team sheet, and he certainly will be the first name on my team sheet this weekend, in a big game, is Jesse Lingard. Now, if we're playing a team that I expect to sit in that low block at home, the creativity and the ability to break down a team that doesn't want to be passed through, Jesse Lingard isn't going to play in that game for me because that's not his game. But as he proved again last night, 91% accuracy, fantastic decision making, 4 chances created, which was more than any other player on the pitch. His pressing game and every other thing around what was going on. Jesse Lingard was absolutely brilliant last night, as he so often is in the biggest games. Now, I think that his goals and assists get skewed because he doesn't often feature in the games where you might actually run up a little bit of a score. Not that I actually think that he offers that much in those games. But come a big game, come a chance when you need to put pressure on the opposition defence because they're likely to hold possession there, like Manchester City will do, then Jesse Lingard is the perfect foil for that. I'd be very tempted to play Jesse in a false 9 against City this weekend if Tony Marshall isn't available, because I think the pressure that he will put on City's rickety defence could be massive for us, turning the ball over in those areas and allowing the speed merchants in James and Rashford to get on the end of them. Number 5, Lindelof rose to the occasion, and also a little bit of a shout out for Fred. I thought Fred was pretty good, but I thought for me Lindelof, out of the players that have been a little bit more maligned, was great. Dribbled past 0 times, considering some of the players that Tottenham have at their disposal. 100% ground duels won. A little bit sloppy with the ball at his feet. He was another one, much like Ashley Young, who seemed intent on just passing it to Serge Aurier. But I do think that defensively, Lindelof, who I have my doubts about, especially like Harry Kane bullied him last season at Old Trafford, I thought he was great against Tottenham, so I think it's worth saying it. He probably isn't going to remain as United's first choice second centre-back. But when he has a good game, like he did against Tottenham, I think it's worth giving him a little attaboy. In this weekend's derby, I'm going to be betting with the guys over at the Betfair Exchange. Now, it might need a little bit of explaining because it's a little bit different to the usual sort of betting platforms. So have a look at this. Right then, so what is the Betfair Exchange? It's unlike any other betting platform that is out there. The biggest feature, the one that you're probably going to notice as soon as you log onto the website is you go, hang on, I can bet and I can lay. What is the difference? Well, a back bet is exactly the same thing that you will see on every other bookmakers all the way around the world. You find the odds that you like, you type in your stake and you place the bet. That part of the Betfair Exchange is absolutely no different to any other betting company that you've ever used. So then for an example bet, the decimal odds show the return. So if you can see Manchester United to win, say at 4.1, and you put £1 on, then you win £4.10. Simple as that. Another example then, let's say that we see Manchester United at 7.8 to win the Europa League, and I go, do you know what? I fancy that to happen. I'm going to put a tenner on it. What I will win is £78. Dead easy to work out. So the lay side then. Now this works very similar, but instead of the stake, I write into the box what I want to win. And the website works out what my liability is. Now my liability is whatever someone could win back in the bet that I've decided to lay. I'm basically playing the other side, the bookie side, if you like. So it's quite straightforward, as you can see. Let's say I don't know who's going to win the Europa League, but I'll just tell you what, I don't think Arsenal are going to win it. Now it's as simple as this. I can lay Arsenal to not win it. And it doesn't matter who wins it, as long as Arsenal don't, my bet comes in. Maybe we'll look at some of the other things that you can do on the Betfair Exchange, where we'll look at trades and all that kind of stuff where it gets into a little bit more advanced stuff. But as you can see, the bet And the lay is very straightforward. We'll probably look at some of the more in-depth stuff a little bit later on. Anyway, back to the video. Right then, hopefully that's given you a little bit of an explanation about what the Betfair exchange is. Now, tomorrow we're going to be doing our bets on the Manchester City preview, so come and join us for that one using the Betfair exchange. So make sure you've had another watch of that video, make sure you get your head around it, and make sure to tune in tomorrow for the Derby preview, where I'm going to be looking at how Manchester United are going to break down Pep Guardiola's Manchester City and how we could win the Manchester Derby. Until then, see you in the next one.